Mr. Gibbons will give us an invocation.
Lord, we thank you for another day, another week. We thank you for traveling to and fro safely. God, we also thank you for this institution and the lives that we help affect and change on a weekly, daily, and monthly basis. We thank you for the staff. We thank you for the administration. And God, give this board the wisdom to do what's right. All these blessings in Jesus' name, in whom I pray, and in whose name you may pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, man.
Mr. President, we have a couple resolutions.
We do. I would like to ask Carol Barber to come forward with her President's orders.
Why don't you stand right there? Yeah, not one but two provosts, okay. Carol A. Barber, Senior Administrative Services Specialist for Instructional Design and Development, began her St. Petersburg College career in 1986 as a library clerk at the circulation desk of the M.M. Bennett Library on the St. Petersburg Gibbs campus. And whereas Ms. Barber, always willing to help wherever needed, for a time served as staff assistant to the campus provost. In 1998, she transferred to the Seminole Campus Learning Commons, where her congenial, welcoming spirit was inspiring and encouraging to struggling students. And whereas Ms. Barber later worked in the Seminole Campus Business Office, served as a proctor for CLAST and e-campus testing, and volunteered year after year at events such as All College Day, and whereas Ms. Barber has effectively and efficiently served the Instructional Design and Development Department since 2004, organizing and supporting the online work of faculty and staff as well as e-campus students. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the St. Petersburg College Board of Trustees and the total college community hereby recognize and appreciate the outstanding contributions to the college by Carol Barber and extend to her our best wishes for enjoyment throughout the years ahead. Said resolution adopted and approved by the Board of Trustees this 18th day of November 2014. Hear, hear. Congratulations. Let's just start here. Hold on, we'll do this. Wonderful. Let's get all the friends up here. Stay right there. And if you would like a short benediction, there you go.
Gracious, I didn't even bring a Kleenex with me. St. Petersburg College, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. You've always been concerned. You're definitely efficient and full of love and, well, health insurance was a joy. I won't go beyond the J, but kind, loving, you know, you get the idea. But I have many wonderful... I'm sorry, I'm emotional. I have many wonderful memories of so many people in here. Thank you. And now my mind is blank. I can't even remember what I was going to say. I guess it's a senior moment. Time for me to retire, I guess. But you are the most wonderful place I've ever worked, working with people. And I shall miss you all. And I have a lot of wonderful memories. You've been my family. And since my parents died about 5 years ago, the college and my church is my family. I'm so thankful that you put up with me all these years. All of you who've had to deal with me and be patient with me and everything. Thank you very much, and I shall love and miss you all very much. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, join me, please.
Sure. You're great, thanks. I'd like to ask Peg Connell to join us with, I'm afraid to say, her friends. This could be many.
Hard to believe. Oh, my goodness.
Good Lord. Quiet. Peg Connell, Director of Disabilities Resources, has used her exceptional talents and skills to mold and develop St. Petersburg College's Disabilities Resources Program for the past 16 years. And whereas Ms. Connell, throughout this time, has insisted on and maintained high standards for herself and her staff, which has resulted in several federal grant awards to the college and the establishment of the Able Trust Grant, which has placed more than 100 students with disabilities in professional career-oriented employment since its inception 2 years ago. And whereas Ms. Connell has represented the college faithfully by serving as president of the Florida Special Needs Association and the St. Petersburg College chapter of the Florida Association of Community Colleges, she was a founder of Florida Ahead, the Florida Association on Higher Education and Disabilities, and served as the association's president in 2011-2012. She received the association's Award of Excellence in 2013, and whereas Ms. Connell established the highly successful Narrowing the Gulf Annual Conference at St. Petersburg College, which brings more than 200 people to the epicenter each year to address the needs of underrepresented college students across the state, and whereas Ms. Connell has demonstrated her love for our students by giving her generous donations to the college's foundation's employee giving program each year since the inception of the program in 2003. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the St. Petersburg College Board of Trustees and the total college community hereby recognize the outstanding contributions of Peg Connell. We extend her our best wishes for enjoyment throughout the years ahead. Said resolution being adopted and approved by the Board of Trustees, St. Petersburg College, this 18th day of November 2014. Hear, hear. Wonderful testimony. What a wonderful testimony. You hold that. Let me move this.
Well, I know that I could spend the entire board meeting talking about how great this college is, but I don't think I'm allowed to. But I have often said that there is no way that I could ever give back to SBC what this college has given to me, and nothing could be truer. Starting with Dr. Law, your commitment to our students, your affirmation and support of students with disabilities and our DR team has just been unparalleled, and I thank you for that. Our teams could not do what they do without the leadership on the campuses. So I really want to thank our provost and associate provosts. You've been wonderful, you've been supportive, and you've really trusted the DR team, and I thank you for that. There are two people, this is the one I may not get through. There are a few things I love more than being asked to do something and I have no idea how I'm going to do it. It gets my adrenaline flowing, I start researching, I find out ways to do it. Well, there are two people at this college who have given me innumerable opportunities to get that adrenaline flowing. Taja Williams and Linda Hogans. I cannot say enough for how I feel about these two phenomenal women. Their leadership has influenced me in ways that I don't think they know. And they have just been so wonderful. They've supported me at times when I didn't think I deserved it. And they have challenged me in ways that I never thought I could be challenged. We are so blessed at this college to have them, and I've been blessed to work with them.
course, I have to mention our DR team. Whenever I talk to my colleagues across the state, any one of them will say, boy, you've got a strong team there. I think we've got probably the most knowledgeable, professional, and caring group of people serving our students with disabilities, and it's been such a pleasure and a privilege to work with them. And then finally, our students. And Dr. Law and board, just so you know, this December, 2 deaf students, 1 blind student, and a student who uses a wheelchair will be crossing the stage at graduation. That happens because the students themselves, sometimes I don't know how they get out of bed and move. They've just inspired me so much. But so has the collaboration of the campuses, financial aid, advising. It really does take a village to get a student with disability through. And we have an incredible village here. I really thank you all. I thank God for opening the door. I've had such a wonderful career. And the day he opened the door to St. Pete College was the best day of my life. So thank you all very much. Thank you, Dr. Law.
We're real proud. Moving on, before we move on, I just want to, in the supporters of the 2 retirees, I want to recognize 2 individuals that came back to the school, a former provost of the Gibbs campus, Dr. Jerry Odom. If you could rise, sir. Thank you very much. And board member extraordinaire, Ken Burke. Thank you, Ken. Sir, Chancellor's Leadership Award.
Yes, I'd like to ask Vice President Tanja Williams, who accepted the award for us, to describe it and present it.
Well, first of all, Mr. Chair, board members, Dr. Law, last month I shared with enthusiasm and great pride that St. Petersburg College's College Experience received the Chancellor's Best Practices Award, which is a leadership award. There were 30 submissions and 2 were approved. St. Petersburg College was one of them with the college experience. Last month I made it clear that this is a college effort. It's not something that one person did, it took a team. So I'd like everyone in the room who are involved in the college experience to just stand.
Whoa. All right.
If all of you don't stand. This is the team that's behind me, before you, who has done a lot of work. And we still have a long way to go. But as Dr. Law would say, we're in the big leagues now. And so this was a huge award and honor for St. Petersburg College that has also brought the college a lot more attention. We have a lot of schools contacting us, asking for information about the college experience and to have an opportunity to witness the weekly webinar, as well as learn how we did it. And so these are 2 trophies that we received, and I'm just going to start here. Mr. Oliver, if you could pass it around, on that day. And so I just want to thank the board for your leadership and your support. When we submitted our budget last year, you approved it, and we did what we said we were going to do with it, and we continue to change the lives of students, and that is a village, and that's what we do at St. Petersburg College. Thank you again.
Thank you, Tanja.
Down to section 3, board comments. Mr. Oliver?
My comments, the retirees have probably left, but I think, I think it's nice every month that we have some memorable retirements, I think well-deserved from those that are involved, and certainly the college family surrounding them is really kind of what has gotten them there. So my hat's off to all of you for those. And then also every month, I think I'm always amazed with the awards, the recognitions, and the things that we get here. And that doesn't happen by chance. I think it happens by having the right discussions, recognizing the right needs that the college has, and pushing those things forward. And I think with the recognitions, we're being recognized for what we do. We're being moved into a higher echelon of the academic community when we do that. And we're just going to have to keep pushing forward, because I think, as we were talking earlier, I think once you get in that higher echelon, there's an expectation that you stay there. And so there goes the challenge. So that's all, Bob.
Thank you. Ms. Westine?
I don't have anything.
Nothing? Mr. Gibbons?
I got a list.
Okay.
Good morning.
Uh-oh.
Likewise, I'd like to say that, you know, these folks that retired are irreplaceable, but I'm sure that we will find some capable people to try to fill some very big shoes of folks that are leaving. I don't know, Dr. Law, over the last year, I look like I almost have 200 years of expertise that's walking out of the building, so I hope we've provided ourselves a good bench, as you like to say, so. But thank you for all the folks that are retiring. It's well-deserved, and thank you for your years of service. I see that, is Mr. Kavanaugh here, Dr. Law, Jeff Kavanaugh?
He is.
I see we had got another Veterans Award for something. He's always doing a
Jeff was
good job.
here
I just wanted to
earlier.
mention that. The girls and boys basketball teams, Dr. Williams, they're up and running, and here's some good things about them. They're doing good things. And then, Dr. Law, I saw we got two Latino students that got awards at the Fernandez Zapolsky Awards. We're hitting on all cylinders. And then the Vet Tech accreditation, that's pretty big. I mean, I know we partner with the University of Florida, but that's pretty big for St. Petersburg College. We're on our way in terms of having our Vet Tech program. And then we had an adjunct professor who got an award for Kathy Bryson, the communications adjunct, got an award for writing a book, which is big. That's pretty good. And then I always like to brag on the student success stuff. I saw we went up again from 73% to 74.9% in our student success rate. And that our students went up to New York at the Model UN, and they won top honors. And that's a big deal. The crop students, which Dr. Hogan, is she still running our program? She stepped out. I remember she used to run our program. We had some students that are leaving our crop program going to top universities here in the state, which is a big deal. This is a program that helps middle schoolers and high schoolers prepare for college from minority communities or low disadvantaged households, and they're going to top universities. So I just wanted to mention those things and say, you know, look, we're hitting on all cylinders. Oh, and then Francis knew. I saw that we had a major success at Raymond James with the Innovation Grants Luncheon, as we normally do. So those are great things. Keep up the good work. I just wanted to say thank you, Dr. Law, for all the great things that are going on. And as you can tell, they're all across the board. It's not in one particular area. We're hitting on all cylinders, so you can't leave.
No. Trust me, I'm not brave enough to tell my wife.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I have two brief comments. One, to fellow board members, Deborah was nice enough to get a survey to all of us, so if you could take some time in the next week and get that back, a little bit of feedback of how we conduct board meetings, if we can make it more efficient or more to your liking, we'd like to do that. The other one is we get invitations to attend a lot of events, and I had the chance to go to the Innovations Grant event last Friday or so, and I just want to commend Frances and her staff. The foundation doubled the grants, I believe, if that's accurate, from last year to this past year. It's fascinating to see listening to the professors talk about their projects and listen to their passion is quite remarkable. Some really cool things happening with students here. So congratulations, and love to see that program continue to grow. Mr. President.
Thank you very much. The self-congratulatory part is important and to be recognized. I want to give you a heads up on two. I have some more serious comments regarding baccalaureate and others at the end of the meeting, but two things that are on my radar screen. I think I had mentioned to you earlier that we had received an unsolicited incoming phone call from the program officer at the Gates Foundation, who is interested in the success we're having with the college experience. Our team did about an hour and 15-minute interview with a very high-level consulting firm that wanted to understand the details of it. We've sent them all the information. That material is the basis for a gathering in Seattle in mid-December, to which I've been invited. on student success and developmental education. So our work is, I got another email unsolicited after I think they briefed the people at Gates saying, I hear really good things. Look forward to your attendance. So that's good. I want to go even further, though. Although we are not eligible for the Aspen Prize, the Aspen Institute contacted us, and they want to work with Jamel and some of our key people on our planning and budgeting process in support of student success. So they will be sending a team to us. I don't know if the details are worked out, to do some interviewing and some taping, and they will use that in their own management development as they work with other colleges. So people whose names are generally recognized as being the most nationally upfront are taking great note of the work being done throughout our organization. So I'm very proud of both of those. The rest is, we'll take it up again in the President's report at the end. Thank you, sir.
Sure. No public comment, not informed of any. So moving along, review and approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
So moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion to move. Monthly reports. Sir.
Good morning. I'm
Not quite Mr. Lang.
Sure he is. He is
He is Mr. Lang?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I am Mr. Lang.
Okay.
Good morning. I'm advised that there is no report.
Ms. Gardner.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. I have no report.
Thank you. And Ms. Morrow, the presentation for career service.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chair, trustees, and Dr. Law. My name is Leslie Morrow. I'm the new chair of the Career Service Employee Council. I'm here today to share with you about how we are revitalizing the career service employee process here at St. Petersburg College. Well, who are our career service employees? Well, they're some of the first faces that our students see when they come onto the campuses, like our custodial staff, our landscaping crew, and our maintenance workers who wear their How Can I Help You t-shirts. They are the frontline staff who help our students register and help our students create learning plans, like our student support specialists and our advisors. They're also our administrative service assistants who provide support to our department offices. These employees are the focus of the evaluation process. So I'll give a brief background and our purpose, and then discuss some of the steps in our process and our goals. The current evaluation is a number rating form. It focuses on meeting expectations or not meeting those expectations. Has a box for a few list of improvements if that's needed. And although these topics are important to include, that evaluation falls short of having true meaning to the employee, true value. You might say, well, why don't we just change the form? But it's not about a form. It's about a process that helps the supervisor and the employee develop a relationship, giving that employee opportunities for professional development and help position them for success. The purpose behind the initiative is to promote and elevate the value of our employee experience. Employee engagement and success needs to be as much a priority as our student experience. So how do we get there? How do we make that happen? Well, we formed a committee last spring, and they were tasked to answer that very question. That committee was very diverse. It included multi-campus representation from both supervisors and employees, career service employees, and administrative and professional staff as well. We began by surveying our career service colleagues and their supervisors, and we asked them for input on what the new evaluation process should include. We were extremely pleased with the level of interest on the survey. About 2/3 of our staff, or nearly 500 of our employees, responded to that survey. The results were that the employees wanted growth plans, they wanted career path information, and a valuable ongoing dialogue with their supervisor, rather than just an annual conversation or event. So changing that conversation between the employee and their supervisor is going to take a collaborative effort. By making that evaluation conversation ongoing, focusing on the employee's growth, those two can work together to create a professional development plan that includes goals that are relevant to the employee. As an example, an accounting support assistant that's grade level 2 in pay could develop a plan leading to an accounting support specialist that's grade 5, then create a more enhanced plan to a grade 7 for a supervisor and learn the skills and earn the degree that's needed to get to that level. So while that type of progression does not happen overnight, the employee, with the help from their supervisor, begins to understand how to set goals and how to prepare themselves for that next opportunity. The employee feedback that we've received in this process has been very instrumental. It's helped give us guidance to creating a new format. It's identified the trainings that will be needed for an employee and a supervisor in order for this process to be successful. And it's helped create the new instrument itself. So we are truly excited about this new process and believe it will transform St. Petersburg College and help show our staff that we're invested in them and that we care about their growth and their development. Our goal a year from now is to report to you how putting this new system in place has helped our institution. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just a second. Leslie was very nervous about this presentation. And she has done, she is the chair of the council this year. Woke up one morning and the chair was promoted to an administrative position, and lo and behold, Leslie was the chair. I think we had some other intervention in there too. She's done a really, really fine job, and you did a really good job this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just one brief, Mr. Gibbons.
Dr. Law, I forgot one other comment. I heard our security guard, Mr. Jimmy, died up in Tarpon.
Yeah.
He loved St. Petersburg College. I mean, every time I talk to this guy, all he talks about was the college. And I was wondering if the board at the end of the meeting would maybe take up a resolution that we give a scholarship in Tarpon in his name, if that's possible.
We'll do that.
Okay.
That's good. Jimmy was
All
a
right.
good friend.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy.
Good morning, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, board members. My name is Catherine Kennedy, and I'm here to share with you an update on the internationalization of St. Petersburg College. I'd like to begin by sharing a quote from 2013 by Hill. "Globalization is the movement of people, ideas, goods, capital, music, and diseases across borders. Internationalization is higher education's response to that reality." We are fortunate here at St. Pete College that leadership supports the internationalization initiative and has done so since 2008 with the Worldview graduation requirement. There are 24 courses with 3 academic departments represented from which students may choose to fill this obligation. As you can see, the top 3 choices are World Religions, Humanities East-West Synthesis, and Elementary Spanish. 85% of the students enrolled this fall are taking one of these 3 classes. And as a side note, 11 of these 24 courses are available in the study abroad format. Internationalizing the curriculum begins with faculty, and therefore training and resources must be made available to those instructors. CETL is our Center of Excellence for Teaching and Learning. Last year, there were 4 workshops with an internationalization focus in which 46 faculty attended. This year, our goal is to host 6 workshops with at least 60 faculty. But the highlight of this year's trainings will be the Collaborative Online International Learning, COIL. This is an innovative, cost-effective internationalization strategy that fosters faculty and student interaction with peers abroad. We are excited to work with our new Associate Vice President, Susan Kolorik, and her team of online learning and services for this initiative. Not all internationalization can take place in the classroom. Therefore, we strive for a variety of campus and community events that highlight diverse cultures. Last year, we hosted 134 events with just under 2,500 students participating. Already this year, we have organized 73 events with 866 students. But our goal for the entire academic year is to get 3,000 students to at least 150 events. And as you can see, we try to include as many different cultures as possible. Obviously, the work we do in the classrooms and on our quads cannot compare to actually being there. So I'd like to highlight now some study abroad data. Director Kirsch came on board 2 years ago, and during her first year, student abroad participation increased some 56%. Even though we are not satisfied with these numbers, we are pleased with how we compare with our sister institutions across the state. We are projecting that 130 students will travel this year, and our goal for next year is 200. We believe that we can reach this goal with more strategic marketing efforts. Our data shows us that students at St. Pete College students choose study abroad mostly because of the faculty. The marketing will also include the concept that the travel could lead to a profession. With our business intelligence, we can use that data for strategic emails. And lastly, of course, we can include students from other universities, transient when they come home from summer, or being a part of the Florida Consortium for International Education. We do understand that a huge hurdle for travel are finances. So we have a laser focus on scholarships. There are 3 types of scholarships, St. Pete College scholarships: the foundation, the honors, and the baccalaureate. Again, in Director Kirsch's first year, scholarships were increased 68%. This year, there will be 4 baccalaureate scholarships, 10 from the foundation and 13 from the honors college. This will give us a total of $56,000 that we can award to 32 recipients. Our goal next year, however, though, is to increase that amount for those scholarships to be $80,000 for 40 recipients. The increase in funds, we hope, will come from employee giving, targeted requests to community businesses and donors, not to mention a couple creative initiatives. It is encouraging, though, to know that not all scholarships are from St. Pete College. There is a plethora of scholarships outside of the college, and we guide students through that process in finding those. This is also true of our travel opportunities. If a student has a particular trip in mind and St. Pete College does not offer it, we guide them through the process of working with other institutions or entities to be able to take that travel. We believe our staff is well qualified, and we know that we can always improve, though. And we're pleased now to find that there is a certificate for a study abroad advisor, and we're going to implement that. When we analyze the study abroad data, we not only look at students and money, but we also look at disciplines, location, programs, and the faculty representation. And of course, our goal is to continue that trend line in the upward direction. Again, there was an increase from 2012-13 to last year. This next slide shows you the menu of options that are available currently. One trip is already finished, that was the dental hygiene trip, and as you can see from the dates, the College of Education is currently in country. Y'all may also notice the various travel dates that we have posted, and notice that we do not have anything listed for the winter holiday. That is another goal. We would like to get some trips over that break. Here you see 13 programs represented, 8 different academic departments, and a range in cost from just under $2,000 to just over $7,000. These costs include things like travel, lodging, tuition, insurance. We're very pleased with the new process that has been created to assist students as they save during the year for this program. It allows for periodic deposits. Again, our data shows us that students don't return and necessarily talk about the course or the credits they earned, but the experiences they had and how that changed their lives. Although we think we are really good at assisting our colleagues with internationalizing the curriculum and providing both local and community and study abroad experiences for our students, we absolutely understand that partnerships are what really will enhance these endeavors. You can see here the various types of partnerships, and we have examples of those. Currently, there are 32 partners representing 18 different countries. Another wonderful resource are our international students. Right now, we have 183 international students from 57 countries, and we are doing a much better job of integrating those students into campus life, not only with jobs, but also with different events. We know that being a commuter campus makes it difficult for international students, but we believe that our enhanced website has helped. It's also reassuring to know that our compliance with federal reports is stellar. You may remember that after 9/11, more important than ever was the documentation of those international students, their registration for class, and their attendance. Of utmost importance now is the threat of Ebola, and meetings are set to establish procedures for exploring processes and options for students, staff, applicants that are traveling to or that reside in those affected areas. In conclusion, I would like to bring all of this together by explaining to you the Strategic International Team. This group was formed over the summer They began work Labor Day, they'll conclude Memorial Day, and they're developing a 5-year strategic plan for the college and how we can internationalize the college. But as you can see, we're not waiting for this team to finish this 5-year strategic plan to continue to improve the internationalization. I would like to leave you with a teaser. One idea that has already bubbled up from the SIT committee is a global distinction on a student's transcript. This basically is where a student can earn a variety of points or enough points from a variety of internationalization experiences to be able to earn this global distinction on their transcript. I appreciate your time and the opportunity to share this information, and at this time I will try to answer any questions.
I have one. What does the global distinction do if they try to transfer to like a state university system?
It does two things. One, it lets them know that that student has a little more experience than another student. So it puts them above. If everything else was equal, our student with a global distinction would have an advantage over another student. It also gives them advantage in the job workforce. You think about it. If you're an employer and you have, again, all things being equal, and you have one student that has experienced other cultures besides our Western culture, you're going to pick that employee. Yes, sir.
I had two questions. Visas. How do we issue, or?
We
is it-
issue
do
I-20s. We
you're
do
right,
not issue visas.
No, I mean the I-20s.
Correct. And the only ones that we have at this college are F1.
F1s.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the certificate of study abroad?
For our
Yeah,
advisors?
Yeah, could you
We're very
elaborate that a
excited
little
about
bit?
that because it's a module system. It's a your own pace. We believe that what this is doing is showing that this really is a professionalization of the area, that it's not just anybody can go in and advise a student on how to study abroad. I think we think as parents that we can. But it's a modules. It does cost money. But again, our college is very supportive of professional development. And we not only want this for the advisors that are in the international office, but to make it available for advisors across the college.
Okay. Back to the F1s. Does admissions do that, or do you, the international office?
The
Who's complying with
I-20s.
the I-20s? That's what I mean. I'm sorry.
No.
The I-20s.
I learned
Yeah,
that
I know.
because I did the exact same
Who
thing
who
initially.
deals with CVIS on St. Pete College's campus?
The international office does.
Thank you. Should have just
I
said
can
that
answer
right
that
from the
question.
get-go.
Yes, but of course, it's a joint effort. We do centralize all of our applications, but Central Records works directly with the international office for those international students.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Clinton and Dr. Gordon, Midtown. Good morning.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Law, good morning. I'm Dr. Kevin Gordon, and Mr. Clinton and myself will be bringing you an update on the Midtown project. Our first slide here kind of is a highlight of the purpose for the project. Of course, we want to be a central force in Midtown when it comes to education. When people think about better in their station in life, we want them to think of St. Petersburg College first. Through the acquisition of some additional strategic land buildings on the 22nd Street corridor, we've placed ourselves in a key role in terms of the revitalization of Midtown. So we're very, very excited about that. And of course, we've got some key academic programs, which we'll highlight a little bit later in the presentation. These are some highlights of the facility itself. You can see those. One thing I'll point out that's not up there is we do have a brand new library and learning support, which will sit right above it. So we're real excited about that library. The tie-in that it has with the community is also going to have some space for children down there. So we're really, really excited about that. Some other highlights. This is a rendering of the Career Center. It'll be right there in the middle of the lobby on the first floor. It'll be unavoidable. And as you see in this rendering, we're real excited about the high-tech features that we're going to have in there. So we're really sure that it's going to be really close to what you see here. So we're really excited about the look and feel of this. Another highlight, we're going to have some really neat artwork throughout the building. We work with a company called Creative Arts. And what we've done is gathered some historical pictures from the Midtown community. We'll feature some of the historical leaders and landmarks. So you'll see those featured on the first and second floor in the building. Here are some renderings of Johnny Ruth Clark and Cecil B. Keene and Doug Jamerson that you see here. And we're hoping to tie in some technology with that and have a scroll that'll give you some history of the folks as they look at it. So we're really excited about that.
Good morning. From this slide here, you'll see the staffing that we have in place. The white that you see are the current staff in place. The brownish tan colors are the positions that we hope to be filled, and in advance, I thank you, the board, for the funding for those positions. And in green are the positions that we hope to secure for the career services area. On the academic side, we hope to fill 3 academic chair positions: natural science, College of Computer and Information Technology, social and behavioral sciences, as well as 3 faculty positions in math, College of Ed, and the College of Business. And here's our staffing timeline. We hope to be a full-service campus at some point, and here's our timeline in terms of who and how we plan on hiring the folks for our grand opening sometime in August. If we work our way backwards, you can see our campus opening somewhere around the 1st of August, somewhere in there. The building should be ready for us to move in somewhere in March. We'll begin interviewing in February, hopefully, for these positions, and our projected timeline to post these positions will be somewhere in January.
Here we highlight some of the academic programs. Let me tell you kind of how we landed here. We've done so far 2 collaborative labs within the community. So we've gathered quite a bit of input from them. We've worked with the deans in terms of feasibility of bringing the sections here. We've done a feasibility study, looked at some labor market statistics, and have a good idea of the growth of jobs in these particular areas. So those are the drivers for how we landed on these particular academic programs that you see here. Phase 1 represents either those that are up and running now, which is advanced manufacturing, which we've partnered with LumaStream on that, and those that will be anticipating opening in the fall when we open the building. Early childhood education will actually be starting in the spring. That's going to be a 12-credit 4-classes certificate. So we're real excited about that in terms of driving some folks in there and help with the literacy initiative in the area. Some of the enrollment strategies that we'll focus on as we get closer to moving into the building. We're doing this now. This is our 2nd run at visiting the churches. We went to Southside Tabernacle on Sunday, so I gave an update on the building, talked about the early childhood program, and we have several other churches that we're going to visit before the holidays come in to give them some updates. And this is something that we'll continue to do again in the spring as we get ready to do our move for the fall enrollment. We've got St. Petersburg High School set up tomorrow. We'll be out there visiting and giving information about the college there. We had a table at the Deuces Live Sunday Market this past Sunday as well, and we'll be doing that every Saturday. Of course, everyone's doing the phone outreach, and we're going to also do a door-to-door campaign. And we've done that a couple times in the past, so we want to go back and revisit that again as we get closer to opening the doors. Some of the next steps, we're going to conduct a community collaborative lab on December 2nd, and this will be to talk about the expansion of the Community Outreach Center. We'll be developing a transition timeline for moving out of the old building and into the new building. We need to work with marketing to create a plan to market to the community about the coming of the new building. Of course, they can see it already, but we want to do some more strategic things in terms of marketing. And we need to start developing a communication plan for our students so they know exactly when the building's going to be open, when they can begin to come see us in the building for registration. And also we'll be working on a time for the grand opening and the ribbon cutting. At this time, if there are questions, be happy to answer some.
When does registration start for the fall?
Registration?
It
typically starts around the end of April.
End of April. Okay.
I got a quick
So
comment.
does that play a role in building not being open and classes, or, I
We
mean?
anticipate substantial completion about March to April.
Okay.
So it should not play a role in students registering. Students can register online.
Right.
But, some like to come in and see
See
and
the lay
feel
of the
and
land.
get a face-to-face.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, let me just say, I know we're going down there after this, but the building looks great, number one. And they're moving right along. I know Dr. Law goes by there, and some of the other folks go by there all the time. I try to drive by there at least 2 or 3 times a week, and I can tell you there's a difference every time I go by. So they're making great progress. 2 quick things. One is, Dr. Law, the Jamerson family may come up with money to do a bust of Mr. Jamerson's head for the building. And so I told them if they get half the money, I'll meet them with the other half. So they're working on that, and I told them to get in contact with you to let you know. So if it's possible, they'll be able to move forward with that somewhere in the building. I said they need to work the logistics out with you guys. And the second thing is I was with our friend Michelle Robinson yesterday, and she's still excited about us doing something on that corridor. So we have corporations that are looking to help us with this thing. This is not just going to change Midtown. It's going to change St. Petersburg and the way colleges do business, I think, in the state of Florida. So thank you, Dr. Law.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I have just 2 things, I think, at board level concern. We, in this year's budget, from continuing sources, put $300,000 in anticipation of staffing needs next year, so that it's not a big surprise on July 1 that we're looking for all the money for all the new staff. So a good number of those positions are already covered by existing budget commitments that we have. So I think we're in pretty good shape to plan going forward. We're in the final stages of really understanding if we still have some unmet needs there, and we'll bring those back to you. But I think we have the lion's share of the new costs associated with that. But there's one other piece that's kind of inside baseball, but not unimportant to the board. Every year, the legislature, at the top of the funding stream, is the operating cost for new facilities. So all of the maintenance costs, all of the buildings and grounds costs, a good deal of the technology costs, they front end that depending upon how long the buildings will be up and running, and we'll be up and running for the whole year. So we don't know what that number looks like yet, but we'll get a special allocation. It goes right into our general fund, but I'm feeling like we've got our arms around as much as we know about the cost for next year. There won't be any big surprises as it comes. I have a second piece, if I could, Mr. Chairman. You heard us mention a collaborative lab. I think this is in your package. We have organized a collaborative lab to focus on, I'm going to say the word out loud, but we're trying to avoid saying it, the gymnasium. Okay. We want to start moving people's thinking along that there's life after gymnasiums, okay? Do they not have this in there?
I don't think we have that.
Thank you. Okay. And we have invited all of those community-based organizations that have already approached us or who have some on-the-ground presence in the area. Girls Incorporated, Boys and Girls Club, some of the churches have youth ministries, all of those. And we're going to get everybody in a room and say, how can this facility add to all of what we're doing? But we're avoiding having a one-on-one partnership with, we don't want to have a preferred partner in there. So we're going to give ourselves a little time to figure this out, but I'm very encouraged about our ability to come up with something good.
And I just want to add, Dr. Law's right, we have avoided having the one-on-ones, but I will tell you that we have a major corporate donor that is willing to participate in that facility, right, Dr. Law,
Yes.
to move us forward when we get a final plan that will help the entire community. And they're willing to put their name on it, as you like to see, Mr. Chair.
Love that.
So,
Any additional questions?
Thank you very much.
I just have a comment. Your outreach is exceptional.
Thank you.
It's just, I mean, it's exceptional. And from someone who's walked door to door, more than I'm proud of, I know that it's not easy, and I know that you don't always get the responses at the doors that you knock on that you'd like. But I do know that's also probably the best way to get out there and show just how entrenched and just how committed we are to this community.
It's a Tom Sawyer kind of thing, so if you want to come and show us how to do it, we're open to it.
I sound like a frog because of my cold, but yes, I have done my share of door knocking. And if you tell me when the next time you're doing it, I may join you.
I'll join you. I'll go.
Thank you very much.
I'll come.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm good at it.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, trustees, Dr. Law. I'm Jason Krupp, Director of Workforce Services, here to share with you some of the academic workforce program goals. One of the ways that our workforce programs maintains relevance in the community and the industry is through advisory committees. Every program has an advisory committee that helps shape the curriculum, help find placements for students and internships and jobs. In early September, we hosted an event for all the advisory committees college-wide, over 400 participants in that event. And during that event, we showed our appreciation for their time that they volunteer with our college. And we also asked them to help us reach the strategic initiative of expanding our services and our programs to do more with transition of our graduates from college to career. Specifically, we asked them to focus on 3 targeted areas, and that was internships, partnerships, and industry certifications. So we first look at the goals established for internships. On the first column you see there is the discipline and the specific number of actual students enrolled in internships and work-based learning courses. Last year there were 1,252. The target for this year, the entire year, is 2,154. This fall we're sitting at about 800 students enrolled in internship courses and work-based learning. And this spring our target is 1,019 students, and we're about halfway there with several weeks to go yet with enrollment in the spring term. So you can see that between fall and spring, 1,800 already over and above the entire year from last year, 1,252, and we still have summer yet for enrollment. Internships allow students to apply the things that they learn in the class into real-world environments. And internships and cooperative work experience courses are the most common form of work-based learning. And work-based learning may not be a familiar term to you, but that's common used in career and technical education. And the bullets here at the top are some of the other forms of work-based learning. And our capstone courses are examples of those that often include things like simulated enterprises, mentorship. The Tampa Bay Business Journal recently published a story about our computer information technology capstone, which is requiring students to work with companies like Raymond James Financial with projects to solve real-world problems. So we use the same, so an internship, a student works 60 hours, they get 1 credit. Most internships are 3 credits, so they're working on the job about 180 hours and they get 3 college credits. We use that same benchmark for defining other courses that have significant work-based learning components. And so if a course has 60 hours in one of those areas, then through an approval process, we're defining those also as work-based learning. The overall theme is that they're promoting career readiness for our students, allowing them to apply the content knowledge in real-world environments, establishing relationships, building their networks, and demonstrating critical thinking and ethical decision-making in professional environments. Here are some of the new partnerships that our programs are developing. We're developing a new supply chain management program through a TACT grant, and this is one of the key players in this area is the Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals. We are partnering with them to develop 8 new industry certifications for this industry. Currently they have a couple, but these certifications will allow students to enter the workforce and also to progress through gaining stacked industry certifications. And the Port of Tampa Bay is one of the major players in this. They were cited as the #1 economic driver for Western Central Florida, bringing in $15 billion in economic impact and over 100,000 jobs. So one of the key players. And then over on the right side, those are mainly internship companies we're partnering with for expanding internships. But I want to highlight one of them, which is really interesting and humanitarian effort. The Operation Coexist, the Music Industry Recording Arts Program, is partnering with Operation Coexist, which is a nonprofit organization that focuses on enriching lives through the healing power of music. So they're partnering with them with community outreach efforts to teach musical lessons to children in foster care, and also to bring internship opportunities to our students to understand the administration of a nonprofit, art-based nonprofit organization. So some great new partnerships happening now. Industry certifications is the third area, the final area we asked them to establish goals. You see last year's numbers, we have 411 documented industry certifications attained by students, and these are not including health programs or any clinical, so we're focusing on the non-health industry certifications. Our goal this year is 913 industry certifications earned by students. The College of Business has added the accounting, the QuickBooks certification. One of the most dramatic one that you'll see there, the change over last year to this year, is the College of Computer and Information Technology. We're expecting over 300 students to earn industry certification this year. But one other certification that came up today that you don't see is that study abroad advisor. That one's not yet on this list. We'll be considering that, but not likely to show up as one of these. The computer information technology, the Burning Glass software enables us to find and to justify and really also to monitor what certifications are on the horizon. And so we look at these are the industry certifications, the top 9 that are listed in IT jobs. So at the top of the list, we have 182 job descriptions which have the CISSP certification listed as a requirement. So you can see that last year we were embedding 2 of the certifications in the curriculum, Network Plus and the Cisco Certified Network Associate. And this year we've added 2 more certifications. So we have 4 of the top 9 industry certifications currently embedded in the College of Computer Information Technology. Again, Burning Glass helping us to justify that. And not always do you see industry certifications on the job listing. Sometimes they're listed as a skill. So there are 1360, for example, SQL is off the charts with the skill set required for IT jobs. And over the last 90 days, we see all these industry certifications listed, or I'm sorry, these skills listed as requirements for IT jobs. And I'm happy to report that all these skills are embedded in courses already in the College of Computer Information Technology. So we believe we're hitting the mark in several areas. We have obviously some more work to do and examining, keeping apprised of the emerging certifications. But we're on track. We have a certification testing center at Epicenter, and we're ramping up for testing at the end of the semester as the students begin to finish those courses and prepare for the exams. So I thank you for your time, and we'll entertain any questions you have.
I had one question about the certification programs. Do we do anything separate to market them more than
the
the
certification
bachelor's program or associate's degrees, or how do we get the word out that we have all of
we're
this?
actually we're working with marketing now to develop some materials for outreach to those students that they're embedded in the curriculum.
Right.
So it's in those promotional materials that are going to be developed. They'll kind of highlight those certifications that are available.
Thank
Do
you.
we offer those independent of the four-year program, of the four-year programs?
Yes, through our corporate training workforce development office, there's also that parallel arm of the institution that offers certifications for students.
And how do we market that?
Those are also, Dr. Connolly here, they've got, through the 24 program, through the visits with the industries, as they're meeting with businesses, they're assessing their needs and recommending those certifications for the companies depending on what their labor force needs are.
Got it.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Dr. Conley.
Good morning, Chairman Fine, Board, Dr. Law. 2 weeks ago, on October 30th and 31st, St. Petersburg College's Institute for Strategic and Policy Solutions hosted the Economic Innovation and Leadership Symposium on the Seminole campus. The college was well represented with staff, administration. Attorney Westing attended as the board representative, and it was a great turnout. The students in the program also participated in this two-day event. The symposium was part of Pinellas County's economic development, what they call Pinellas by Design. Pinellas by Design was established in 2005 for the purpose of redevelopment and fostering business growth here in the area and increasing 50,000 jobs. The overarching theme of this symposium was focusing on primary industries with a specific focus on high-paying jobs. They also emphasized the collaboration between business and industry, government, and education. We understand that a qualified workforce is the best prerequisite for growth and business growth and economic development. What I'm going to show you is the primary industries that were part of the conference and where we're positioned. With the listing there of the industry certifications offered, you can see what we offered in fiscal year 14. You can see the increase in fiscal 15, but there's still a lot of room for growth. We went through Region 14. There are 213 total certificates that can be earned in 12 months or less in the county. So by our collaboration with Pinellas Economic Development, we were able to help increase some of those numbers. First was prospect and site visits with Bristol Myers Squibb. They're coming to the area building a 70,000-foot facility, hiring 600 people, and the uniqueness about it is the average pay is going to be $65,000 a year for those students. We also work with Pinellas Economic Development for quick response training grants. You can see when the companies Tech Data, Jabil, Power Design, GE come in, the jobs that are committed on the middle column. And then you see the $865,000 that comes to the area. We get 5% of that fee for administering the grants for those companies. We also collaborate with Career Source Pinellas. One specific example is the high-tech training grant. We've just added our 200th person to that program. 128 have completed. 88 of those people have already gained employment. But look at the demographics of what we have. 48% of those students have some college experience. 30% have a bachelor's degree. So we're able to help them add to their degree with certifications and making them more employable. 13% veterans, and of course 9% are disabled. One of the examples that we talk about collaboration with industry and St. Petersburg College, and I wanted to focus on the Oldsmar Training Center, because when we were at the symposium, I was able to meet with Bruce Haddock, and I told him we wanted to have a training center of some sort in the Oldsmar area. There are 30,000 people that go to work every day in Pinellas County as manufacturers. And according to our software and Burning Glass, there are 4,654 jobs that were open this past year in the county alone. So by partnering with government in Oldsmar, industry, the Chamber of Commerce, we're going to open up a training center, and I asked the industry to commit to doing hands-on training. So the students will walk from class across the street to a training center, get the hands-on, come back. That'll lead to internships and then job opportunities for those students. Lastly, Commissioner Seal in her closing remarks commented that we needed to make this event an annual event. The growth and opportunity for us is phenomenal. I've already had the CIO from Pinellas County Government out to the office, Marty Rose. They want to do training with us. They feel the money from the county should stay in the county. So we have those type of opportunities. We probably got about 5 or 6 intern opportunities immediately following the presentation. Any questions?
I can just say that I attended both days of this event, and boy, were my eyes opened. The reality at the end of the day is that in Pinellas County, we like to think that all our dollars are coming from tourism, and at the end of the day, it's really coming from manufacturing, period. We can talk all we want about tourism and how important Winter the Dolphin is, who is wonderful, but at the end of the day, it's manufacturing jobs, and that's what's gonna bring in a workforce. When we were able to, and bless your heart, you made us look like rock stars. I mean, he stood up and he started talking about all the things we're doing, and that entire room sadly, they didn't know about it, but the reality was that when we started talking about what we were doing, people put iPads down, they put phones down, because that's really, at the end of the day, it's the meat and potatoes. I mean, if we can train these people and we can provide workforce, we can bring these companies in, period.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was very, very proud to be part of St. Pete College that day and when you spoke. And I realized that my comments to Dr. Law probably got you dragged here, but I was very, very proud. I was very, very proud to be part of St. Pete College when you spoke.
Thank you for that.
We take accolades wherever we can find them. Okay, thanks. Thank you for that comment.
Ms.
Okay.
Connor, Finance.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, trustees, Dr. Law. This morning, I just want to provide a brief financial update. So our actuals are through October, so we're now a third of the way through our fiscal year. This chart shows our first 6-month budgeted trend for revenue and expense. So we're running $2 million above our revenue trend expected and $1 million below our expenses. Now, one important thing to note on that is last month you did approve the recognition payment that's going to be made. That will occur in December. So once we're looking at December actuals, I'll be sure to show you the impact of that versus our traditional trend that we'd built. When you're looking at overall revenues, we're 2% above our revenue goal. Our tuition tracking right now, we would expect to be at 51%. We're actually at 55%. This includes now tuition revenue that's coming in for spring because we have opened up spring enrollment. On the expense side, we're 1% below our expense budget. When you look at our adjunct expenses, we would be at 28%, and we're actually at 29%. That's really it's less than $150,000. And what's important to note is whereas our revenues are now showing spring revenue, our adjunct costs are still related to part of summer and our fall. So even though we're not seeing any costs associated with spring for adjunct yet, it's still showing with the enrollment that we've had in fall, we're still managing those adjunct expenses. And then as we look at all the other funds across the college, the bottom chart shows from a relative perspective where the main dollars are. So our first one is our operating budget, and overall we're at 38%, which as I said is 2% above where we're expected to be. The other cost centers, which include student activity fees, financial aid fee, and capital improvement fee, are all at or above our expected trend so far in the year. Any questions?
Good news. Thank you.
Good.
Down to item D, Human Resources Personnel Report and Renewal Stop Loss. Any comments about the renewal stop loss, sir?
No, that one, we ended up changing carriers on that, but we came out okay on that. I'm trying to think of who has the details on that? Doug, do you remember the specifics? We just one would not renew their and I'm trying to think who we switched to.
I think, well, that was last month, I think is what you're recalling when we changed the life insurance carrier. The stop loss, they actually came in with a proposed increase, and Patty and her folks, they had some discussions with our stop loss carrier, and they agreed to keep it level for the next year, so there is no increase. And that's, what's the carrier's new name? Symetra. Yeah, they used to be Gallagher Bassett, I think, so now they're Symetra.
Okay.
Okay.
Could we take item D, 1, A, and B together? Could I have a motion?
So
Or-
moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion on personnel report or the renewal stop loss? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Passed. Item 2D, selection of contract for all-state chiller plant project.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this board had authorized us to go to the market to find third-party support for this project. It is arguably the last and sole remaining project where we think by changing out this chiller, it's very old and it's very inefficient, we will be able to pay the cost of the renewal and the installation of up-to-date equipment As you recall, it's a third-party payment, so we essentially borrow the money and pay it back with the savings from the energy efficiency. It's a huge market out there, lots of providers, so we did an RFP process, and you have our recommendations for the result of that process.
Comments, sir? Any?
That sums it up.
That sums it up? Okay. Open for a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion approved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank
So
you.
moved. Dr. Cooper, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Law. What I would like to do is share a little background of the amount of data that the deans and I review before we bring forward our recommendations for new faculty and academic chair positions for the 2015-16 academic year. One of the first things that we look at are the number of replacement positions that we have available, and those can happen for various reasons. There may be retirements, resignations, someone may receive a promotion, we may have a carry-forward position from a former year, or we may have a non-renewal. And as you can see from the chart there, we have several of those occurrences happening, primarily retirements for the coming year. One of the other things that we do in determining how to allocate our resources and continue to maintain the quality of our programs is we look at the number of student semester hours that our full-time faculty teach compared to the total number of student semester hours that are taught. This, of course, then gives us a percentage, and we maintain a 55% full-time faculty percentage in regards to those student semester hours. So if we take the example of one campus, this is hypothetical, and let's say in our mathematics, we find that on campus A, we have 70% of our student semester hours taught by full-time faculty and 30% taught by adjuncts. And then we have another campus where we're adding a new facility, and currently at that particular campus, we have 50% of our student semester hours taught by full-time and 50% taught by adjuncts. What we may do is decide to reallocate or transfer a position from campus A to campus B. We still maintain standard at campus A, 65% full-time, 35% adjunct, but now we can move campus B up to 55% full-time and 45% adjunct. And we feel that that is an appropriate standard because adjuncts oftentimes bring real-world experience to the classroom and applied knowledge. And so, particularly in our workforce programs, they're very important to us. Some of the other factors that we also look at are program growth. We know our Bachelor's of Science in Nursing is growing, and so we want to add resources there. We also have a new program coming on board at the Tarpon Springs campus in fall of 2015, an Associate of Science degree in Biomedical Engineering and Technology, so we need to add resources there. And then, of course, as you heard earlier, the new facilities at the Midtown Center and the enrollment increases that we're expecting there, we will be adding resources. So after all of that review, this is the list of recommendations that we bring forward for your approval this morning. And as you can see, bottom line, $26,000. Reason for that is that with all the retirements, people who are at the higher end of the scale, and bringing in our new at the beginning of the salary scale for faculty, it creates some cost savings, some conversions of some positions to meet the program needs better. Then we come out ahead in many instances. So this is what we are bringing to you for your approval. And just so I wanted to also add a couple of things about the review process that we go through when we are hiring. First of all, beginning as early as we do, we get the cream of the crop, and that has served us well. We also begin the process by taking the diversity information for each of our academic disciplines college-wide to make sure that we are addressing those strategies from the get-go. We make sure that the search and screen committee is made up of a diverse group of faculty members and our deans and chairs. The applications are then reviewed by the members of the Search and Screen Committee, and they submit their choices to the dean. The deans then consolidate those choices, and usually they choose maybe 5 to 6 of the candidates for the interview process. Part of that interview process involves a teaching demonstration that the candidate will provide, and then they will be interviewed by the Search and Screen Committee as well as the dean. The finalist for a position is then interviewed by the provost of the campus, so the provost is aware. And then in the end, they come to the president and I, and we review all of the final candidates before the final approval is given. So just wanted to share that process with you, and thank you for your continued support in helping us to build our professorial ranks. Any questions?
There's 2 positions not filled that currently stay in the budget, is that?
Correct. We have high enough standards that we can hold those for this year and carry them forward.
Oh. So it's really not an impact this year at all?
Mr. Chairman, if I might, Vice President Cooper and the deans do a really great job with this, and we bring it to you at this time because it's really important. $26,000 is an incidental amount to think of hiring 24 faculty, but we're making a very strong commitment to fill those positions in the next academic year so that people who invest their time on the search committees have reason to believe that that time will be honored. We move this forward very rapidly. By approving it today, we can advertise over the semester break time and start receiving applications in a very timely basis at the beginning of the year. Our goal is to bring you the list of recommended candidates in April so that, again, in a buyer's market, we're at the front of the line going after people who have choices to relocate and want to join an institution like ours. So instead of waiting for the end, which is what many institutions do, and hiring people in June, July, and heaven forbid, August, we think we can have it mostly done by April. The system works really well with the kind of leadership and planning that Dr. Cooper is giving. Don't misread the signal. Your commitment to these positions now is important to the institution. They understand that the board is supporting the academic quality by getting the right number of faculty at the right locations all the time. So I appreciate this very much. Among my many bromides, the one that I like the most is planning matters. And if you do this right, you see what happens. $26,000 is the cost. I wish I could get 24 more for the next $26,000, but it doesn't quite work that way. But Ann's done a really good job balancing the interests, moving positions. By the way, this covers our commitments at the Midtown site by balancing that interest. So if you say, what's the enrollment going to be? What's the staffing going to be? We have a core staffing, but then we just manage the sections if there is a transition from the St. Pete Gibbs or elsewhere if the students show up. So we can do it just like the normal everyday responsibility. So I think we're in really good shape. Thanks for listening to me. I'm very proud of this work. It really makes a difference in the quality of what we do.
Thank you. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. The consent agenda. We can obviously take it all together. Any comments about the Biltmore construction, the lease in Tarpon Spring campus?
No, I
Any
would make a
board
motion.
member? Nothing?
Unless somebody wants something pulled, I'll make a motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Consent. Down to informational reports. Moving the NELA conference. Good morning, sir.
This one's just
How are
brand new.
you?
I just want to take a few minutes this morning to celebrate a little bit, I guess, in terms of the success. So we had a very successful conference a couple weeks ago. And just kind of tell you about kind of the evolution of how it started and where we ended up. We set out and we wanted to do something very different than we've done before. Attending a lot of conferences around both regionally and state, and some national, it gave an opportunity to see what what kind of experience is a typical conference goer would go. The important thing that we wanted to start with is something that we'd get folks that wanted to attend this important concept, and what it was a discussion about data culture. We've done a great job here with everybody's work to move the needle when it comes to using data to drive performance change. And when we've talked to our peer institutions, we find ourselves in a position where we're further ahead than most in that dialogue. In fact, we have a lot now that have been coming to our institution to visit with us to learn about how we use data and how we move the needle on student success. So we decided to have a conference about it, and we started out our original discussion. In fact, we brought a budget to Dr. Law only about like 7 months ago. And the dialogue was there as we thought we might be able to get 75 people to come and have a discussion about data culture. What we ended up doing is selling out the conference 2 weeks before early bird registration was over. We ended up with, let me show you some of the numbers, 150 participants. We had, at the end of the day, we were telling institutions that we were full and couldn't fit any more into the location that we actually decided to have it was at the epicenter. We had 10 sponsors we ended up with, and the same thing. We had sponsors knocking at the end of the door to get in, and we couldn't fit actual room. We had 26 different colleges and universities that attended. 18 of the 28 state colleges here in Florida were participating. And in the room, we had 8 different folks with the title of president and 37 with vice president. So we wanted to make it a little bit different than most conference experiences, and we brought in, we recommended bringing in leadership teams. So we brought in presidents, executive teams to sit down and have a dialogue about how you change data culture. Because we knew if it was just about data, if we just brought a bunch of IR folks into the room, that may change the amount of data they had, but at the end of the day, it wasn't going to change culture. It wasn't going to change how we move forward with that information. So that was really the focus, and I've only got a couple slides here to share some of our results, but I wanted to share some of these comments. So this was one of our participants from Polk State College. What I really like the conferences is focused on actionable data, how to get the right information, the right folks at the right time, and that's ultimately what culture is all about. But we were very fortunate. We had some excellent keynote presenters. Dr. Mark Milliron from Civitas Learning came in and agreed to be our first keynote presenter on the first day. He's a pretty noteworthy gentleman when it comes to data in general, even outside the area of education, and is a seasoned keynote addresser at conferences. You'll often see his name. So we were very lucky to get him in the beginning. And then John Streetmatter, who was our leadership coach that really helped influence some of the development and the culture with the college experience and working with the provost and the deans, came in and did a session along with Dr. Williams. And that was a great opportunity for the participants to actually get some insight into how the mechanics work. You know, what we've noticed with culture is we've had institutions come to visit us and we've given them the documentation. We've said we do this at this time and these folks look at this information. But at the end of the day, their culture doesn't change because culture is so much bigger than that discussion. And the other interesting aspect is we wanted these to be collaborative sessions. So we actually embedded 2 different mini collaborative labs, one in the first day and one in the second day. And we built a model where institutions could begin that dialogue as they move forward. There's an example of the 10 sponsors that we had. One of our goals in the beginning was to make sure this was a sponsor-friendly conference. You know, we didn't want the typical conference where we had a room of sponsors and they all sat in an area and we had 45 minutes within the conference and everybody went over there and visited with the sponsors. We wanted to make them a part of it. So much so, interesting enough, 2 of our sponsors went ahead and paid registration fees, and so we were going to go ahead and have a table, but we're so interested in this conference, we're not actually going to be there. And one of those was Pearson. Who actually went and attended the sessions, got involved, got in a dialogue because of the importance of this topic. But we were quite proud when one of our sponsors actually said this was the most sponsor-friendly conference they've ever attended. We wanted to leverage technology. I mean, technology has been a big part of what we've done here at St. Petersburg College. So even from the get-go, we streamed the event for those participants and even our college family. You know, when we sold out, we had a limited, not from other colleges. In fact, Hillsborough wanted to bring 21. We limited them to 10 attendees. But we had many attendees here at the college that wanted to attend. We just couldn't fit it in. So what we ended up doing is streaming for our own audience and then streaming outside of that as well for those participants whose folks we couldn't allow to come in. We tried to take advantage of social media. So we actually had a live Twitter feed right on our page, and folks were tweeting as we went along through the conference. And we just wanted to move that information forward. We actually did a pre-conference. As we were putting this together, we realized we couldn't squeeze all this information into a single event. So what we did is we invited some colleges, some of which weren't even attending the actual conference because they couldn't fit in, came earlier, and we took a bus from the Epicenter to our Seminole campus. Dr. Oliver hosted us there, and we went through and had the participants at the pre-conference actually get to hear the college experience live. So they sat in the room as it went on. We had a debrief afterwards, and we had a number of the provost and other staff come in and present the different elements of the college experience, and then we did a campus tour so they could actually meet staff and actually talk about what it meant for those staff positions as they used the college experience and interacted with data. And then you hear, there's a good quote there from one of our participants from South Texas College. They were our southernmost college. We also had, I think it's Northwestern Wisconsin Technical College attended as well. So we had people even outside the local state. We had an activity there, breakfast. We got folks started. We squeezed as much as we could in about a day and 3/4. We actually started 7 o'clock one day and 7:30 the next. And we went till 5 every day. Next year, I think if we do this again, we want to expand that amount of time because everybody said we just didn't have enough time. So even expanding those days and doing the pre-conference and everything, there still wasn't enough time. But we broke our data culture down into 6 different aspects. And we focused on the very beginning and said, tell us about your best practices. So we worked with Andrea and the collaborative lab. They captured that information. And then by the time we did the opening session, we had them use clicker technology and vote on what those best practices were. So they were interacting right away with the information. The collaborative session on the first day allowed them to do their own needs analysis. We built a matrix, a scale where they had a 7-item Likert scale for each one of the different areas within the culture. And they as an institution could meet with their teams and talk about where they ended up on that scale. We then pulled all that data together, and then by lunch that day, we could actually see what the results are so people could see where they are. Interesting enough, business intelligence was the lowest ranking of each of the 6 areas. But we got them started right away on the information. Good quote there from Tallahassee Community College, again, about getting folks sitting down, talking about the importance of data. But this was a working conference. This wasn't, you show up and you attend a couple sessions. This was folks engaged in the dialogue about the information. We used QR code technology for the evaluation, so everything was done online. Folks right from the sessions could click on, and right from their phones and tablets could go ahead and give us conference evaluation. We've got stellar responses at this point. And it was overall a very good conference. We have a number of institutions very interested in our Pulse business intelligence. In fact, we're working on trying to put together a consortium of schools so we can share that technology with other schools. Last count I looked at last night, we were up to about 9. And we're interested in actually doing a collaborative lab in the spring where we can bring those institutions, and instead of us building a consortium and say, here's what it looks like, we're actually going to collaboratively work with those schools to put it together. So any questions I can answer about the conference?
No, but I just have a comment. I was there the morning that Tanja and John spoke. And one of the things that I took away from that was just from the questions that our culture is simply different, period. We have a culture of always moving forward. We have a culture of growing and growth. And some of the questions were things like, but what if somebody doesn't want to? And I personally, coming from corporate America, don't find that answer hard. But Tanja very delicately was able to answer it. But I was just in the, 2 hours that I was there, one of the things that I took away was that we truly have a culture of we have a superior culture. And I don't mean that from a standpoint of superiority, but I mean that from a standpoint of we hold ourselves to higher standards, we expect more from ourselves, and in turn, we then take our students further.
Thank you.
All right, all of our sessions are posted, all the PowerPoint sessions are posted online. If you go to movingtheneedleconference.com, and you click on sessions, we've got it all listed there. We have transcripts of our keynote presenters up there online. And we've actually captured this stuff electronically as well. We're going to share it with the college family and some leadership type meetings as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Moving along, no unagenda items, no changes. President's report, sir.
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you for going through with us. A lot of today was intended to provide information, I think, to help the flavor of our planning workshop next month, so that we have a common vision of our workforce efforts, a common vision of our student success efforts. So thank you for your indulgence on that. I want to give you a heads up. I thought I would have a document to hand with you this morning. It didn't come in last night, and we had the presidents had the system presidents had a telephone conference yesterday. We think that life is going to move forward for the baccalaureate degree. Here's what we see happening. It impacts us, but I want to be very straightforward that it doesn't detriment us in any way. The proposal from the presidents working through with some legislative leaders is to make sure that the process at the state board level is much more anticipatable, documentable, and fair game, so that the industry is strongly in support of these bachelor's degrees. In fact, as we meet today, the state board is meeting in Tampa, and they have a number of industry reps who are coming to speak on behalf of their support for bachelor's degrees. So we think that's going to be, the recommendation is going to be to lift the moratorium, to let the State Board of Education refine the process, and to move forward sort of to status quo ante. What will happen, though, is that St. Pete's individual authority will probably get repealed, and that's not new. We have, this college had its own legislation that remains on the books. We have not used that legislation individually for 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know the last programs we did without that, but I made the commitment coming in that we would follow the state board. Candidly, that commitment had been made previously as the state was expanding, and they had some task forces. So when the legislature reconvenes and you see that they are eliminating that language, it doesn't eliminate any of our programs, it doesn't impact us, it doesn't change the way we do. We are meeting every bit of the state board process, and we think we're in really good stead with that. For some reason, you know, the political process, people think that we're still trying to operate outside that umbrella, and we're not. There's nothing to be gained outside that umbrella. So it doesn't reflect on the quality of the work we're doing. I think that's going to happen early in the session. We believe that there's one more meeting of the presidents early in December, and then Dr. Sandy Shugart from Valencia will in fact continue to meet with the Senate President and key officers there to be sure their concerns are assuaged. On the House side, with the new leadership, the college in the new leaders district announced their plans for 6 new baccalaureate programs. So we suspect that the House side is ready to continue to move forward. We're trying to not get this into a legislative agenda. I think we're going to be all right. We only have one program in the mix, the music art, what are we calling that one? The Arts and Entertainment Technology. We think we're going to be okay. So, you know, we've just walked it around a little bit, met with the interested parties. The staff doesn't seem to be particularly interested in it. The one senator who was concerned has been addressed and met with quietly, professionally, and privately. We think we see a way out. Stay tuned. I think that's going to happen probably before the holidays, and then the legislature will take whatever action necessary right after the holidays. Think we're okay. I don't want anyone to get upset when you read our name in the paper, though. That's language that hadn't been used. It's outdated language. It doesn't control any of our going forward definitions. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Any direction about our visitation down to the Midtown?
Yes, hold hands, stay together. We are parking at the existing center so that you're parking on hard surface, and we will van you the block or two down to the thing. So there's a parking lot just off 22nd in the back. There'll be parking there for you. Okay, do I have that correct?
Yes.
good enough.
Okay, our next meeting, December 9th at the Epicenter. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.